Hi folks, Maurice Gleason here. I've tried to reduce the background sound in this video as much as possible, but there was a lot of noise in the auditorium at Birmingham, so you may have to adjust your sound levels to get the best effect.
Okay, well, welcome to the second last presentation of the day at the DNA Workshop, sponsored by Family Tree DNA and supported by the International Society of Genetic Genealogy, both stands you see there behind you. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce Victoria Moore. Now, first of all, I'm going to put on my glasses because I can't see a thing. Victoria is a specialist DNA scientist who has previously worked with the Public Health Laboratory in the UK and Chelab Laboratorio, Italy, before joining LGC in 2001, where she's currently the Commercial DNA Services Manager. And she's worked with a number of archaeological and criminal recovery teams, and since 2008 has continued to work in close partnership with Oxford Archaeology and the Commonwealth War Graves Commission in the analysis and identification program of the World War I mass grave discovered at Fromelles in northern France. Victoria has also attended commemorations at Fromelles in 2010, 2014, 2016 on the invitation of the Australian Department of Veteran Affairs. And that's only one part of the work that Victoria does. And today she'll be talking about how to apply forensic DNA techniques and applications for historical casework. So please give a warm welcome to Victoria Moore.
Thank you very much, Maurice. I feel a bit strange today because I've got all these amazing genetic genealogists and historical people, and I'm a forensic scientist, so a little bit different in that sort of concept. But I hope today that I'll be able to explain the differences between forensic testing and how we incorporate that into testing for potential ancestors in case of which we actually carry out in a forensic environment. So I work for a company called LGC. We're actually going through celebrating our 175th anniversary at the moment. LGC used to stand for the Laboratorio of Government Chemists, so we have a really broad breadth of knowledge of different types of sciences within our company. So what I'd like to discuss with you today is who we are, what do we do, and how we carry out the techniques that's been used for forensics since it started, and the differences between what we do and what's done in the genetic genealogy aspect. And then moving on from there, we can go into advances from the DNA testing, which we're now looking at the new applications, and then the difficulties we encounter for these type of historical cases, because we are, in theory, carrying out criminal investigations still, to a certain degree, or military investigations, because they're only within the last 100-odd years. We also have a lot of specific standards that happen within forensics as well, which will be different again from a genealogical point of view. And I'd like to talk to you about a couple of case studies that I've been working on. One being the World War II case in Salerno, of which I'm absolutely delighted that two family members who I've got working with here is here in the audience today. And also for the World War I casework that we do from Fromelles, which you may have heard about, you may not have heard about, but I'd like to talk to you about. And lastly, do you have something in your home where you maybe want to be able to use to identify your ancestors? And how do you use forensic methods to do that? So LGC is a company, we are a private company, we're a leading life science measurement and testing unit, and we have labs all over the world, we have 21 different laboratories, and we cover a large variety of different types of testing procedures. We have 5 main divisions, which covers standards, so things that you test in everyday life for measurement purposes, and we provide standards for them. We have a massive broad breadth of genomics, from testing from like making DNA kits, creating PCR products, and then actually doing the actual DNA testing ourselves. Then we have a laboratory managed service, which is where we do on normal day-to-day work. So whether it's urine testing for horses to see whether there's a horse that's been drugged and should be running the Grand National today. So there's a lot of types of applications that we can do as well. And there's the forensic and security section, which I've been working with for the last 15 odd years. And we do all the breadth of forensics that you can think about, from questioning documents, to toxicology, DNA analysis. We can do testing from hydrocarbon oils, petroleum, what you're getting in your petrol from your petrol station is correct or not, and mobile phone data, terrorism, the work is massive. And lastly is the science and innovation section, which is the area which I particularly work with now, where we sort of develop and use R&D techniques to try and improve all these different areas as well. We also work specifically with a lot of work with the government, and we are the government chemist classified in regards to we provide broad chemical and analytical services. We also carry out medicine control work, chemical testing, and we are the national reference laboratory for a number of testing, including genetic organisms. And lastly, we are the world's largest private provider of forensic science. So we do testing for all the UK police forces, but also we do a number of international police forces as well, and do private casework if necessary. And again, this is just an overview of the areas from a forensic perspective where we carry out our testing works. So where does DNA come into through forensics and a history perspective from that? So DNA fingerprinting was done from a forensic point of view, discovered by Professor Chelab Jeffries, and it was first used in a criminal investigation by Professor Jeffries in 1986, which ended in the conviction of Colin Pitchfork. I don't know if you've heard of that case at all, but anyone who hasn't, Colin Pitchfork was a gentleman living in the Leicestershire area and was involved in the murder of two young ladies, and he literally was quite sneaky. He was a person who there was a mass DNA screen back in the 1980s, and he tried to get a friend to take their sample for him. But with police investigations and DNA testing, they were able to be able to find him. And he's still in prison at the moment. And then moving on in regards to from history, things have massively moved on with the invention of PCR, preliminary chain reaction. Karen Willis, who jointly got a Nobel Nobel Scientific Prize in regards to this invention, and it's now used as standard validated procedures for all our DNA processing within a forensic environment. And the PCR procedure allows us to have greater sensitivity, and therefore we use it in a lot more in scenarios where we talk about very low levels of DNA. We use short tampon repeats or STR markers. Back in the old days when it first sort of set up, it was quite a very straightforward system. We had what was called a plot test. There's 4 markers in total, which doesn't sound very much today. When you look at all the ancestral markers which you can potentially use, 4 markers is tiny, and how that's then moved along with that process. And then that was quickly moved on to what's called SGM, the second generation multiplex, back in 1995. And that's when the first national UK DNA database was set up. In 1999, this moved then to what's called SGM Plus, and that's what we've been using for quite a number of years since. And that's only recently changed in the last 2 years. We're now on a 17 STR marker system. That sounds tiny, but it enables to, from a criminal perspective, give us a match probability of 1 in a billion. So we sort of think from this perspective, if we're looking at a more societal perspective, how useful is this in a historical context? Can we potentially use this for historical battlefields, or how far back generations do we need to go to be able to use these type of marker systems, or are they not enough? So other types of markers which we can potentially use these days, and this is from a forensic perspective, is we can maybe use the Paraplex 16 tests. These are commercially kits that are available in the market for life sciences, identifying gives us more markers. And this has what's called the CODIS region, where we were able to use this information across with the American national databases. So it has the 13 markers crossovers. We also have new kits which have been recently created by both these companies, such as Verifiler and Profiler, which have now moved on to the 24 SDR mark system, and then incorporated 8 YSDR markers. it still sounds really small. It's not very large either. And then again, there's Hydrogen as well, which is another commercial company which produces SPR kits, which we can potentially also use as well. In regards to DNA databases, so the National UK DNA Database contains approximately 6 million STR profiles on there from reference sources. But unfortunately, due to the nature of how the samples are taken, and correctly so, this information is only restricted and can only be used for forensic criminal investigations. It all has the S17 STR marker system, but there are samples that's on there from previous marker systems, and that's slowly been upgraded over the years from different forensic providers. However, there is at present no UK national DNA database for mitochondrial testing or YSDR markers, which is obviously used in ancestral testing. But we use these processes in a forensic perspective. For example, familial searching. Has anyone come across that term before? No? So a familial search is when we have the opportunity to take your normal autosomal profile, look on the National DNA Database, and is only used for really very high profile cases or for murder investigations, where you want to try and find something that's not on the database, that could be related to that person who committed the crime. To do that, you can only use it for very specific, like I said, very specific cases, and therefore it's not something that's very commonly used. Because you might be thinking, well, if I've got profiles on a database, do I give permission, or who should give permission in regards to should we be finding out their relatives on there? And it's quite a controversial study within the forensic group and such. And then we have the ISFG, who is the International Society of Forensic Genetics, SWAGDA, and also MC, who support the use of what's called MPOP and YHRD or YR database systems. And these are the database systems which we use for forensic perspective. And these are free. You can use them online. These are mainly being developed by other forensic geneticists and have been proven by all these different boards, and so therefore that's why we potentially use them in our systems. In regards to YR in particular, this is the database which is at the moment, which is on release 54, I believe. You can sort of see that the you can sort of see here on the number of marker systems that's actually on the database at the moment. So you can see from the top bar there's 183,655 profiles on there, which classified as the minimum number marker set. And that based on the original YSDR testing systems that were available at the time, which only consists of 9 YSDR markers. Since then, with the adaptation of additional markers with brackets Y filer in particular, which came out back in 2006, and now with Y23, which has been released in the last year, you can sort of see those numbers are starting to advance, and over time this will become a much more powerful tool. Underneath here we have the testing system which is being used in regards to MPOP. MPOP is a database based on SAM sequencing, so we're looking at the HV1 and HV2 hypervariable regions in particular, but then also it's now taking into account NPS and massive parallel sequencing, and that's very slow uptake. The forensic genetics procedures, it takes such a long time for being able to get to be able to use all these additional wonderful markers which are out there for us. But unfortunately, for certain regulations, we have to make sure that what we do and what we test are completely validated to be able to use that. So what techniques are currently being implemented in the forensic community to sort of bolster what's already in there? I mean, we're talking about 17 markers for autosomal. We've got about 23 good markers for YSDR testing and mitochondrial testing. So other things that we're looking at the moment are in regards to prediction of a person. How old is that person? So using from a methylation point of view, there are specific CPG markers which are being looked at specifically from groups such as Denise Court, who's based at King's College London, and David Cullen, who have been looking at these markers to sort of see if they can allow you to be able to predict somebody in a 3 to 7 year age bracket So if you've left a blood stain at a crime scene, could that potentially match it up, and could you then find something more specific from a suspect's point of view? And in addition to that, whereas like phenotypic data, looking at eye colour and texture, if I look at historical case records from military records, depending on which country you're from and what records are available, it may tell you that the person your ancestor may have blue eyes or brown eyes. So that gives us more information we can potentially draw out that we didn't do beforehand. There's this question over geographic ancestry, which from a forensics context as well, there's a, how much can we interpret and develop in there? What can we actually take from that? And how useful is it for us from a discrimination point of view? Could we find that our suspect or the person that we're interested in finding come from a certain specific area, whether it be Ireland or America or that would be Africa, Caribbean, for example. And the platforms to use on this is using like the Illumina forensic, which is a different type of model of massive parallel sequencing processes. A lot of people use high-sync Illumina process, but this has been developed specifically for forensic testing. This is actually one of our own products. It's a rapid DNA processing technique. It's a nice simple box. It means it's an in-field process. So if we're at a scene of a crime or at a military battlefield or something, we can potentially take individual swabs from the sample and place them into the machine and try and see if we can get a full SDR marker system coming through. And it only takes us 75 minutes to be able to do this. This is mainly done more from modern day crime scene work, but we are investigating how it can be used more from a historical point of view. Well, unfortunately, as always, forensics, we have loads and loads of red tape to go through. So all our methods to be able to use them have to be accredited. We are accredited by the UCAS, or the United Kingdom Accreditation Service, whether that's from DNA examination to go into a scene for the crime scene, or to like a mass grave, for example. It's for extraction procedures, PCRs, and apheresis. And these have to be accredited to at least, well, minimum ISO 9001, but pretty much for all forensic processes now, under the UK Forensic Science Regulators process, we have to, there has to be 17025 there as well. All the PCR kits that we use have to be under ISO 18385. This is a brand new standard that only came into place last year. It's incredibly difficult to get kits up to this manufacturing standard now. So there are a lot of pressure from the different police force in particular to make sure that we're only using the specific kits in particular. And they have to conform to all the regulations by each of the individual forensic boards. So, in regards to a historical context, we come across loads of complexities. So, first of all, obviously, it's the classic one. So, it's the time of when did the event occur. The discovery. Is the discovery new? Is it old? Are we revisiting? Who was involved? And what are the risks involved in regards to that discovery? And quite a classic aspect from that is looking at Fromelles. So, if anyone's heard of Fromelles, it's something which I'll go into a bit more detail in a moment. But in particular, this point brings up quite a lot because the Glasgow University Archaeological Research Development Team were the first people who did some of the archaeological work there. And it was done as a pilot study. So they did some boreholes and then looked at a couple of individuals, first of all. And then they found that what they needed to do was put them back in and wait until there was the right permission in place to be able to then do any further work. So therefore that environment changed in that process. So could that naturally have a knock-on effect on us? Is there anything that we could have had introduced into the modern day contamination that we would have to take into account? And in regards to recovery, who was it who was recovered? How was it done? I mean, you talk about grave robbers. I mean, earlier on it was mentioned that, go to a mausoleum. Some people previously beforehand. And unfortunately, especially on places like the Western Front, the Commonwealth War Graves Commission do an amazing job. They're often told that a new site or a new investigation needs to occur, but someone else might have been tipped off beforehand. And they often get to these sites and someone else has already been there. may have taken something. And if that's the case, then it's obviously then potentially taking away that option for someone like us to be able to help to identify them. So that's always something we have to take into consideration. We take account the environment. Has the area changed? I mean, if we again look at the Western Front, we've got farming lands, we've got towns, people put in drainage systems, the waters within the soils will have a knock-on effect. So could that not have a knock-on effect from us from a DNA perspective? Obviously, we have taken into account the artefacts. They're critical, especially from a historical war graves aspect, because if we don't have them, then we could be talking about a complete open field. And then obviously there's history. What do we know? What might have happened at that time? Is there historical records or war documentations take into account? I saw Joe Bloggs, he ran across the field, and unfortunately he was shot in the leg. So have we got that extra historical context to go into, or do we not have anything that might help in that respect? And lastly, classically, the whole point we're here today is, can we make any genealogical links? And then how many generations are we talking about? We have to take into account could mutations occurred in that process, and that's something which we've been looking at, particularly the Fromelles process. And then again, witness statements, again supporting the history aspect. Is there war diaries, documentations which are helpful supporting documentation? Main question. Is the DNA from that part, is it suitable for us to do any testing, and what can we get from a forensic point of view? Testing options. Who can we test against? Is there anybody to test against? We look at some genealogy and we look at family trees. Some family trees have died out, so therefore we then say, how can we test? We may have to go up a number of generations to come back down, a number of generations again, and then try and find them. The Data Protection Act makes it quite difficult in some respects to try and find people today. Not everyone is on their phone records or on electoral rolls, so trying to find our family ancestors could potentially be them. How hard is it for us to find them? And then of course then we take into account the battle scenario. Is there anything from the event that happened that could have an effect on identification? There have been a number of aspects, such as the chlorine gases, whether or not that might have happened at the time of the battle, and could that have penetrated and had a knock-on effect on the DNA that we want to investigate? And then also, there's also things like copper and iron, which are found with the remains, especially from gun residues, and shells, etc. And they can leach obviously different water systems if you're in a very wet area, and that sort of metal material can leach into the bodies and that can have a knock-on effect. And then from my perspective in particular is, how do we weigh all this evidence, and how will these results allow us to provide a conclusive outcome? Are we, at the end of the day, to actually provide an identification? So in regards to scenarios, and this happens for all DBI type of work that we carry out, is we could be talking about a closed event, such a classic plane. You therefore know that there is a flight manifesto, you know exactly who was on the plane at the time, and so therefore you've got a limited number of people who potentially you could be looking at. You could have an open warfare aspect, which we then need to be an open event. So therefore, you know who potentially was in that battalion at the time, but unfortunately we don't know who that person might be related to because there's no information to support it. In regards to time, DNA over time will appear to degrade potentially, and therefore we're faced with a number of challenges in our processes. We need to take into account modern day contamination and historical contamination. At the end of the day, who we're testing, what we examine, we have to make sure that we wear all the right equipment to be able to sort of eliminate some of those aspects. And then also we need to take appropriate considerations in our examinations and validation methods. And things like such as inhibitors and tannins and humic acid can have potentially a knock-on effect for PCR. And then of course, is anything here or anyone can test against comparisons to improve our identifications. In regards to our discoveries, We want to make sure there's no modern day contamination that gets introduced. So we need to make sure we wear the right protective personal equipment. So that's when you see us in our lovely white suits, all dolled up with our glasses and face masks. It can get very hot, not really attractive. I definitely don't look very good in a white suit. We have a staff elimination databases, so we need to make sure that we've got all our profiles available to check against to make sure that we're not contaminating any source of material. We also got to make sure that all of the equipment that we buy is sterile and DNA-free certified consumables. We need to make sure. We need to make sure that we take environmental controls. So we swab all our labs every week. We make sure we process them to show that we have clean benches, clean surfaces, clean materials. No one's leaving their DNA randomly knocking around in any labs. We do internal and external monitoring within those labs as well, temperature and air filtration systems. We have a separation of exhibits, multiple sources. So therefore we have four very large different laboratories where we may do different items from the same case. And then we also take into account time and space differences, so make sure that reference materials, so samples which come from yourselves, are done in the same lab, so we do all our criminal casework. In regards to environment, can have quite a knock-on effect. If I'm looking at a battlefield sample which maybe comes from Egypt, where you've got very very acidic soils, that can have a knock-on effect in particular, and we find that the Americans, so AFRIL, the American Armed Forces who do work over in Asia Pacific, we find that they also have problems with trying to get good SDR data in particular, but fine for mitochondrial profiles. And the same again here, we've got the red soils under here. This is where we've got a lot of alkaline soils which are found in South America. We also find what other potential evidence could be rocking around. And insects is an option we take into account. For criminal investigations and murders, you can potentially take the casings of insects and find what they've been eating on and maybe get some DNA from that stuff. But then they can also have a slight knock-on effect for us because they can do some inventory aspects. And then one other thing we do really need to take care of is in regards to mass graves. So, is anybody else being laid next to them? Is commingling a possibility? And how are they being laid and stored against good contamination utilising it that way? Obviously, genealogy takes a point, so this is just quite a classic sort of scenario that we come across quite a lot, where we have a person of interest, so the one over here in the green, that's our soldier maybe who have died, and then we have to go back up family tree to find somebody who wants to participate in the DNA test and is also a relative candidate for testing. Because there may be lots of other people in these boxes who could potentially provide a DNA sample. And we go, well, you're not going to be any help to us because you're not related in the way we would like to from a maternal angle. So we've got to take that into consideration too. And then again, as I said earlier, we take into account witness statements. So whether it's from will papers, divorce papers, courts, probates, you name it, we will use the genealogy aspect to help try and trace down potential relative family members. So one of the case studies I want to talk about today is the Battle of Salerno. So it's a battle which happened in 1943. It's part of the Operation Avalanche, which was the invasion of Italy in 1943 to try and drive out the Axis forces. Originally they went across to Sicily and then from Sicily across to Salerno. This happened in September 1943. And this date in particular is quite special to me. It's my mum's birthday. So she was 2 at the time. So that's quite wonderful. But then it sort of brings home that some of the work that we do is actually quite close. It's not that far generations back we have to go back to. And in 1943, the Coldstream guns were brought in to mount an attack in an area known as Hill 270, which is north of Salerno. It's literally about a mile and a half north of Salerno. And if anyone's ever been to Italy in this sort of particular area, it's not far from Naples. You'll know that the area is very mountainous. There's lots of volcanoes, for example, and it's full of greenery, shrubs. it's a nightmare if you want to go try and trekking through the environment. So they had a horrendous job really to be able to get through that. And in regards to coal-stream birds, number 1 and number 3 company were advancing near Chelab, which is a particular type of area of Hill 270. And pretty much the Germans had the advantage. They have all the high ground, so they can put the machines gun down. They know where they want to sort of protect their areas. So bring us back from 1943 to 2014. In 2014, a group of Italian historians, these are Salone in 1943, pretty much the metal detectors people who want to try and find artifacts and information from this battlefield. And they were looking at AR 270, which is this area region here. So you can sort of see this completely dense area. And literally they were detecting and they came across 2 soldiers, individuals. And this is what they found. It's a shallow grave. The area is being covered over because to protect potentially the families, but also the MOD do not like showing human remains. Completely bring it back. So, and then in regards to this aspect, there were a number of artifacts that were found with the remains. And this would indicate, firstly, related to the Coldstream Regiment. And then this is when, from this point of view, when the archaeologists find this aspect, they need to contact the police. The police in Italy are quite complex. I don't know if you know that. There's 3 different types of police in Italy. But they actually all get involved, shut the area down. But they're amazing. They will then check, make sure it's a historical context, and then from then they will then contact the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. The Commonwealth War Graves will then take them to a local cemetery, and then they will then contact the relevant other countries of Commonwealth. From their point of view, in our case in the UK, that's the JCCC, which is the Joint Casualty Centre, to then sort of see and investigate, is this person British? In fact, it's got coal-stream bars, straight away, it's a brick, okay, what do we need to do now? So they look through all their historical records, first of all, and find out who went missing on this date in this area at that time. So from my perspective, I get called when they say they've got this far and they've got potential information that they want to test for. So I know I've got a body, or 2 bodies in this case, of which we then need to do our investigation with. And then I work particularly with anthropologists. So we found from within these 2 sets of remains that they were very tall. We were able to individually show their height based on anthropology, and also we could tell a reasonable amount within their age. So we had 2 different individuals, one slightly younger than the other, one probably about 15 to 17, and then the other gentleman being just slightly older, between the ages of 18 and 25. Now you may think, why are those age brackets slightly different? Well, that's mainly because of from the growth spurts, information we can tell from the density of the bones, and also from the puberty, so have an effect. And when we looked at the remains, we found that they were in good condition, generally, and that they would be suitable enough for us to do DNA analysis on. So that's me, dare I say it, looking very unattractive in my little white outfit. So we have here, this is a tooth, this is found at the side. As you can see, there's like some mud on it. So when we have a sample like this, we need to make sure that we clean the sample and take off any exogenous DNA from the outer surfaces. So we have a procedure in place to be able to do that. We then examine it in the right environment conditions. We take details of the size and just also any markings on it that may also indicate, because we can then look at photographs to see whether there's anything that can indicate that's assistance. And then we take the sample and we put it into a machine which then adds with liquid nitrogen, which then makes the sample very brittle and allows us to then put a magnet through with it to create an electromagnetic pulse, and then that allows us to then produce a current format, which makes it easier for us to get hold of the DNA within the sample. This then goes through a number of different processes, a very chemical process. This is the extraction. There's a stage in between there, which we've been developing over the years, where we can then declassify the sample to remove a lot of the sample parts of the process which we don't want to sample. And then we then split it to 2 different processes. One with using just the grade itself, but then also one from the carrier. It's a process which we've modified specifically ourselves. And then this is a standard type of modified process of extracting the DNA. In regards to DNA testing, we use, I'd say, mitochondrial and YSTI in particular. We were able to produce a mitochondrial profile. And in regards to our YSTI profiling, this is one of the samples that we obtained. And as you can see, there's a little bit of a drop down here. So we're for the larger molecular test, which is not uncommon in these types of samples, but we were able to obtain a full Y23 profile in regards to that. So based on military records and additional sources, we were able to, from the JCCC's work in particular, we were able to have less than 12 soldiers were considered as candidates. The 12 families were contacted, and 2 of the families refused to take any sampling. They didn't want to know, they don't want to go through this process. And it's completely understandable. Some people don't know who their relatives are, they don't want to know, or they're not interested. It depends on them. So particularly this gentleman here, very, very fine, handsome young man, I think. There's Lance Corporal Ronald George Blackham. And he was born 6th of October 1920 in Oxfordshire, and the eldest of 6 children. And he signed up to the Coldstream Guards in Chester in the 18th of June 1940. He was only 19 years of age, as is so many people who went to war in both World War I and World War II. And his regimental records reveal to us that he travelled to Africa and Italy, and he was in Salerno, and he was killed in Salerno on the 25th of September 1943, on the 270. And unfortunately, he only survived 3 years and 100 days, which makes him only 22 years of age, which, in regards to all the samples that we test, this is a very common age for us to be able to be testing with. So the question is, we need to do a family tree investigation, and that was carried out. And then we contacted the family for the JCCC, and it indicated that the family member was an actual full male sibling to the deceased. That doesn't happen very often in multiple circumstances in historical cases. This gentleman's birth is happened. And on initial contact, which we were surprised about, Mr. Bachman was a bit suspicious. I believe like my Bible. It's like, why are these people contacting me? This is a long time ago. What's happening? So, and I completely get that. So, in this respect, the JCCC worked very closely with the family, and a DNA sample was sent to DNA kit out to his home. The sample was taken and sent back to us in the laboratory, and we were able to profile it through not just YSTI testing, but also mitochondrial, because they're a full sibling. They both have the same information. They're both male, which is amazing, and they both have the same mum and dad. So we were able to get a full DNA match observed in this case, and then these findings were then reported back to the JCCC, and then the family then performed the testing back in 2 families on the 16th of December, and then when I say there's 2 remaining soldiers, there are 2 remaining soldiers. So I said earlier there was 1 soldier that was found, another soldier was found like 6 months later, very, very literally within meters away of the other soldier. So that's work which we're still carrying on at the moment. But in regards to the DNA match, this is probably one of the most significant DNA matches that have actually occurred from historical context, because we're talking in the millions, which doesn't often occur from this type of perspective. And so the military funeral of Lance Corporal George Blackham occurred on the 16th of March, my son's birthday, and I've got a date for me, so I feel like I've got a lot going on with my family at the moment. And as you can see, it's one of the most beautiful setting surroundings in Salerno. It's the most very beautiful sunny day, and the Coldstream Guards came and did full military service in regards to gave them full military presence. I think it's quite a significant day. Obviously the family were there, and there are lots of Blackhams. We're very honoured, because there were 19 of them that came to the ceremony, of which would then allow us to, in theory, test multiple people extra if we wanted to. Obviously not to the same discriminating values, but if I just put here, this is Alma. This is actually Ronald's sister as well. He was able to make the ceremony. Unfortunately, Douglas was too ill at the time and was in hospital at the moment, so that's the case in this. So it brings home the historical context casework to people today. It's quite important, I think, to sort of but everyone to sort of realise that this is a sibling of someone who's still alive, and why this type of work is quite important to carry out. This one. And then these are some types of cases that I've done work on, which is from the Great War, 1914 to 1918. We've done work on Gunner and Venus. He was found in Ypres, and that's from 1950. And again, John Rowbottom, they were found together. The investigation was done, and that was done back in 2015. Lance Corporal John Morrison was found in Arras. We were able to test a nephew and a niece, both on the maternal and paternal side, and be able to find identification of him. And he was quite nice because he actually had a spoon with him, which had his regimental number, which also gave him further evidence to support his identification process. In regards to Laboratorio, Laboratorio is an archaeological site which the archaeologist Peter Barton does a lot of work on. And they find a lot of diggers, so people who used to put the military lines underneath the ground, and these guys were involved in that aspect, and we tested them about 6 months ago now, and they only recently had their ceremonies back in October time. So it's just sort of reiterating the fact that this work does get carried on, and the data we see and the Commonwealth War Graves is doing an amazing job. So what I'd also like to quickly talk about is Fromelles. So if the people don't know, the Battle of Fromelles started on the 19th of July 1916, 19 days after the opening of the Somme. It was the first major battle in the Western Front by Australian troops. And this is quite important for the Australian troops because they hadn't come across before. They were in Gallipoli, they've been across the Pacific and the Middle East, but this is the first time they really did a full advancement on the Western Front. And it was a joint battle, so it was a diversion meant to sort of alleviate people further enough down from the Somme. And it was done by the 5th and the 61st British Division, so it was done in conjunction with each other. And small areas of the German trenches were captured, but unfortunately they were forced to withdraw. So a number of people went over the line, got to the point they needed to, but unfortunately they had to come back. And a number of those were actually killed during that process. And when you look at it, we're talking 5,533 Australian deaths. That's the worst number of casualties ever occurred in an Australian battle. And it's actually commemorated, Fromelles Day is commemorated in Australia. And again, obviously there's a big number of British soldiers that were killed at that time. So there's around 1,500 British soldiers killed. And then a lot of people seem to forget the German casualties, obviously, as well. And that kind of should be taken into consideration. So this is Fromelles. It's the battlefield in particular. So this is what's called the Sugarloaf, and this is the area in particular that they wanted to try and get to. It's a very heavily fortified German area with machine guns, and classic man, Mr. Adolf Hitler, was actually present at this battle at this time, being a runner in between. So just imagine how history could potentially have changed and how this battle been different. We have the 61st Battalion and the 5th Australian Division, and they were working in conjunction, and then we have the Ox and Bucks divisions as well, which are involved in here, and the Warwickshires as well, and they've pretty much intermingled at one point. Everything sort of went wrong at this battle, and it was a bit disaster. And in regards to this, then the actual mass burial site is here. This is the town of Fromelles. This is the church, which is probably the only thing that was still standing, even though not in the most greatest thing after the battle was completed. And the German line, the Germans will put the burial sites here. And this is where now it's classified as Pheasant Wood. And this is the new cemetery site where everybody's been buried since. So back in 2009, we did a full excavation. And within that excavation, we found that there were 6 main mass graves, of which there were a total of 250 bodies found, and over 6,200 artifacts were found as well. And the graves themselves were particularly neat. For a mass grave, they took time to put these bodies away. There are 2 layers, one on top of each other, each gravesite, and we're relaying them in certain ways here as well. And the soil conditions in particular, it's all the trench warfare aspect. It's classic, it's soil, it's very sticky clay soil, and in theory that sort of helped preserve artifacts from a DNA perspective. In 2010, we sort of moved forward a little bit from our testing that we carried out from the DNA testing, which was the 94th anniversary of the battle. So far at that point, we identified 96 individuals through DNA testing and other supporting information. And that's around about 1,000 record profiles were tested, both here in Britain, Australia, but also throughout the world, where we had samples from the Philippines, from America, from Canada. And these are mainly great-nephews and nieces, but obviously sometimes they can be further afield family tree. And in 2014, the Musée de la Bataille of Fromelles was opened, pretty much, and it's a really nice place to go to if you ever get the opportunity. It explains the whole process of the battle, but it also tells you the whole story of the excavation and also how the DNA processes work in regards to the identification processes and how they got to where they are now. So we sort of skip forward to 8 years on. Well, for me it's 8 years, most of us give it 7, but I'll start from day one. And since 2009, we're now tested over 3,000 record samples. That's a tremendous difference from when we did it from the very first year. And we've been able to carry out over 750,000 forensic comparisons based on DNA alone. And of those 250 soldiers, we've now identified 150, which from our perspective was massive, it was amazing. We're surprised that we still keep getting them. So, but we also say we want to make sure that everybody who was there at the time, are you a descendant? Do you still want to provide a sample? And this is work which we're continuing to do so. I've been working with the Australian Department of Veteran Affairs now to try and help assist providing whether there are more families available. When you think that there are over 5,500 Australian soldiers that died at the time, and 1,500 British, we're only at 3,000. There are more people out there. We want to be able to try and do what we can to put these people with the right dignity that they deserve. And the last one I just want to talk to you about is slightly different, because how can your information that you might have try and find a link to your ancestors? So we try and utilise forensic techniques and different methods for new novel things all the time. And one thing in particular which we've done is look at documents and also looking at stamps in particular. We have found ways to be able to remove the stamps or the sealed areas of the letter area to try and see whether we can obtain DNA and whether it's usable enough to maybe establish whether we can link it to your grandparents or great-grandparents. Is that person there? And it would be useful to know whether if anything like this happens again from a historical perspective, especially like something like Fromelles, do they have letters that related from that person at that time? Therefore, you're talking about a complete, unique source from the original aspect to be able to compare those, which then produce a much higher discriminating factor for our identification purposes. And in spite to do so, unfortunately, the one bad point of that is that we have to destroy all your documentation to do so. So I usually get shocked by a lot of people who love stamps and letters because they think that they're precious, and they are lovely, they are really lovely. But to do so, we have to use quite invasive techniques to do so. So, like for example, on the front here, we've peeled across an area which was being used with a leatherhead opener, and then we've been able to, from sticky gum regions, because there are areas which haven't been released, we will then ignore the outer surfaces and only tape from the inside and do special tapings with mini tapings to then be able to try and release any DNA that may have been left at that time, whether it's from saliva or from fingerprints. And then again here from the books of the stamp, most of these are liquor sticks, whether it's back from the 1900s or onwards, until recently. So therefore, someone must have done something to put it on it. So we've been very good at getting mitochondrial DNA profiles in particular from here, but also we're starting to get in STR test profiles as well. And this is something which we're spending more time in development and hoping to be able to produce a paper on in the near future. So, lastly, I'd just like to put my acknowledgements. So, this is my team in particular that work with me, especially from the staff perspective and from elsewhere, from LGC. But also we work in partnership with the JCCC, so the Ministry of Defence, the Australian Veterans Association, Commonwealth War Graves Commission, Cranfield University, who is a military university who does a lot of archaeological work, and Oxford Archaeology. And lastly, but more importantly, is thank you to all the family members who have ever participated in any of our DNA record samples, because without them, we won't be able to do what we can to do it. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Victoria. That's fabulous. And thank you actually for coming here and stepping outside of your comfort zone, perhaps, and talking to a group of genealogists. Not the sort of thing you do every day of the week, I'm sure. But it's quite clear from the presentation that you're very passionate about this kind of work. That certainly comes across. And I'd just like to thank you for all the work that you've done in actually helping families get reunited with their long-lost relatives. Now, I'm sure there's quite a few questions in the audience. Yeah, we have one down here in the front row.
I've got non-cultural people killed in the Second World War, civilians, and they buried my uncle with a woman thought to be his wife. So I've got two burial references for her. So there's three people in the grave. I've only got names for two. How do I find out this unknown woman? Who would?
So if I understand correctly, your ancestor was buried with his wife, but there's also a third.
Well, it took a directive, and they buried a woman with him. There was a body of a woman found by him. They thought it was his wife. They buried them, and then found his wife sitting in the cellar with a knitting on her lap after the funerals had taken place.
What year is this?
December 1940.
Interesting. That's something which we'll have to look into. So it's like the UK, or?
So cemetery in Birmingham, I'm actually the secretary of the Friends of King and Millstone Lane Cemetery.
How do you know there's an extra person?
People have even come forward, I've put appeals out and then we remember the incident. One, I have it as a family story, plus I have two burial references for my aunt, one in December and one in the following January.
Anything that sort of potentially could be on a criminal investigation aspect, you really need to speak to the relevant parties, like the police. I can't come across that because that sounds a little bit.
It is a very unusual case.
Yeah.
So was it your grandfather or your uncle had a direct hit? They found a woman near him. They thought it was his wife. They buried the two of them in a communal grave, and then the real wife was found in the cellar with her knitting. And then sometime after that, she died, and she was buried with the other two.
She was buried alive, so from the blast.
They only managed to identify her much time quite later. That's a very unusual case. I don't know how you go about that, because you'd have to dig up the entire grave, exhume the bodies, potentially DNA test all three of them.
To be able to get exhumation permissions, so you would have to go through the relevant processes to be able to do that. So.
And presumably that would mean contacting the county council who own the actual graveyard itself.
There's one part of it.
Yeah, and that would probably be there's a lot of paperwork involved. I don't know. I mean, has anybody come across a similar case where the wrong person is later found to have been buried in the grave?
Only on the Western Front.
Exactly. Yeah.
There was a boy whose case I worked on who was thought to have been buried in a particular cemetery in northern France, and then he was identified as being one of the men at Fromelles, and so he was found, but only in social cases. I've never heard of anything quite like this.
Okay, we had another question. No? Yeah, question over here.
My dad, before we went in to have a major operation about 5 years ago, sent me some nail clippings and hair clippings without roots for me, if anything happened to him, to find out about his birth father that he knows nothing about because he was adopted. And I did inquire several years ago with all different groups. groups, and they can't do anything with them because they're dead. Is there another service that's available to me to test them? I still have them.
So, I think is your father passed away since?
No, but he's refusing to take any tests.
So that says everything. If you are alive, it's your samples, you have consent in regards to what happens to that aspect. So unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to, no one would be able to ever take their type of samples to do so. If the person passed away, then the next of kin has right to be able to do any type of testing, but to a certain degree. And it's quite complex, the processes and the forms that need to go along with that type of testing. So, but no, at the moment, no.
Those samples stay testable for a number of years.
If you're talking about nail clippings, there are a lot of bacteria present in these type of samples, and over time they don't not necessarily be very good to use. If you're saying you've got hairs but has no roots, then mitochondrial DNA is always a potential option, but it depends on who you want to compare against. Mitochondria can only be used from the maternal line lineage, so therefore you could be eliminating who you want to test against. So.
Okay, question here. Has anybody here got people that in their family tree that are still missing from either World War I or World War II? So Michelle, you have. Michelle, by the way, is one of the genealogists that has worked on the Fromelles project and has done a lot of the genealogy work that allowed the identification of living donors for informative DNA. Any other questions at all? Andy, you have a situation, well, Andy is from America, and he works with the Army over there on a lot of these kind of cases. So I'm just going to ask your opinion, Andy. How do you think, what do you think of the presentation? How does it differ from what happens in the US?
The presentation was fabulous, and
Thank you very much.
you give me a lot of hope with postage stamps. You know, I hate seeing these new ones that you just glue on and you don't have to spit on or anything like that. So, but yes, there's quite a few organizations, you know, in the States that are testing for MIA and POW, from both World Wars and Vietnam. And I'm not so sure that there's that many missing. I'm not even sure there are any missing in action from like the Afghanistan or Iraq wars. But there is a company called Parabon that is doing some analysis, and they asked for volunteers. And I run a surname project, so I volunteered all my relatives to test, and they're trying to create better algorithms to discern the relationship. So if you have a descendant, then they'll know better than the divisions, 25, 12 and a half, or whatever percentages, that they can locate back to a particular ancestor and a relationship. So that holds a lot of hope, and that contract is actually through the Department of Defense. So I was very interested in that when Morris was telling me about all the efforts here. And I said in his presentation on the World War I effort, and I want to thank Michelle too for the type of work she does. So it has gotten me very inspired to go back and get more involved in that aspect in the United States. I'm a retired military, so I have a stake in it.
I think at this particular conference, particularly today, we've seen a lot of people talking about ancient DNA and the incredible advances that have been made in the last 4 or 5 years in extracting DNA from ancient remains. Now, obviously, the forensic genetics industry is very heavily regulated. You have gone from the Y-Filer 17 marker test to the Y-Filer 23 marker test since Fromelles. So the number of Y-DNA markers has gone from 17 up to 23. Over at Family Tree DNA, we usually start off at around about 37. Is there a Y-Filer 37, and is that going to be approved at some point in the near future?
That's a really good question. So the information from the farmers and can gather, because we're doing things from a criminal perspective, then the likelihood of being able to require to do so is quite low. We have to remember that criminal testing, we're not just talking about single source profiles, we're talking essentially about multiple profiles, so 2, 3, 4, even 5-person mixtures. So if you're adding in an additional number of marker sets on top, that will then make that interpretation aspect more complex. So from a reference point of view, yes, I completely understand and get it completely, but from a criminal overview, the likelihood of doing that is very low. It's taken years, and I mean years, to change from the 10 marker system in the national database to 17. So to push that forward for it, or even from a YSD markers, I don't think it's going to be there. There's got to be the pressure from the forensic service providers onto the actual manufacturing companies to be able to do so.
And I mean, obviously, we're hearing today that Ancestry are likely to get up to about 5.5 million people in their database by the end of this year, maybe 8 million the next year, maybe 12 million the next year.
You'll supersede the national database if you carry on.
They think 20 million by 2020 is a pessimistic amount, a pessimistic estimate. And so that kind of raises the question, what's going to happen to all of us when there are 20 million people in the Ancestry databases? We'll probably all be able to match each other. And I can see the future where the child is born, they give him the heel prick test that they normally do for those inborn errors of metabolism, and you get your whole genome, the child's whole genome, and about 50% of their ancestors as well. So, you know, they actually give you the family tree based on this type of genetic testing when Ancestry have actually connected the whole world. And of course, they all have the family trees there as well. So, I still cannot get my head around how powerful that will be. And I'm just wondering what kind of implications it will have to the type of work that you do in terms of not just World War I and World War II, but also forensic casework in identifying human remains. So do you have any kind of feel, I certainly don't, any kind of feel for how what we're doing here in the genealogy community is going to impact on the powers that be and the kind of regulations that govern what you do?
I think from an intelligence tool, yes, there will be some involvement utilising some of the genealogy work that's been put into place. I mean, obviously, the more marker snips, the greater higher discrimination, but there's so much regulations in regards to where that data and how that data can be used, then it will essentially take time. So, from an intel perspective, definitely, from an evidential, not so much.
Absolutely. I think it's very important for people to realise that from an evidential point of view, there is no chain of custody in the test that you're doing with family tree DNA. So, you know, you do a test of family tree DNA, you send it in the post. You know, there's hundreds of ways that it could get lost in the post or switched or whatever, and there's no guarantee that the sample that arrives is going to be the same one that was sent from here. There's always lab errors, you know, occasionally 1 in every 1,000 samples the results might be switched or the wrong person's results might be posted on the website. It's happened to myself. That's not the sort of mistake that you can afford to have happen in your work at all. Because one mistake like that will haunt you forever, which is why the industry is so heavily regulated. But, you know, I think those are the kind of considerations that the police have to take into account. Because occasionally, Bennett Greenspan, who's the CEO, gets contacted by the police, and as soon as he points out to them, there is no chain of custody here. I cannot guarantee that the person whose name is on this DNA result is absolutely the same person. And I go, okay, well, thanks very much. And they hang up, and that's the last he ever hears of them. And I think without that chain of custody, there's no way that any of the DNA testing that people do here for genetic genealogy will ever be admissible in court. So it's an important point that not a lot of people actually appreciate. Any final questions then for Victoria? Well, there's a question over here.
I just want to thank Victoria on behalf of the Blackham family. Yeah, we won't be sitting here if it hadn't been for her. Thanks.
Thanks very much for coming and being part of the audience. Were you at Fromelles?
Salerno. Yeah. So it's in World War II. It was my husband's uncle.
And it was a great day.
It was amazing, absolutely amazing. It was just perfect, perfect. Yeah, the ceremony that the Constantine regards put on was just second to none, second to none. Yeah.
Well, we're very, very happy to have both of you here in the audience with us today. And so on behalf of everybody here, thank you. And also on behalf of everybody here, thank you, Victoria.
Thank you.